Hello, this is Neil from iPaintGirls.com. Please visit the link in the description for more free tutorials. We're going to continue with the skin. If you didn't watch the previous version or the previous part 4, please go and watch that so you know where we're at now. So right now I have a skin selection on, and I'm hitting Control H to hide it again, and I'm working on the shading layer. I'm just going to continue adding in the shading. I'm going to add some more cell shading with this tool here. Remember, because where the light's coming from, then most of the shading is going to be on this part, and for the arm is going to be on this part. And actually, I'm going to see if I can. Yeah, see, I can't do it with that tool, so I'm going to have to use my soft brush. And you want to be careful that you just lightly press and move in one direction only. Don't scribble, go back and forth, just one direction only. Then make it a little bit smaller because I do want a little bit of that on that side of the arm, and then some of it will be probably taken away by the lighting when we highlight that side and the lines and everything. Also, I want just part of the thumb and fingers. The tips of the fingers are typically more pink, so I'm just going to go ahead and add the shadowing there for the pink. Most of all that finger will probably be in shade. A little bit, it'll have a little bit of reflective light. And so actually I'm just going to shade those fingers first, and then I'll use my eraser tool on really soft brush and really small soft brush. Oops, I'm not using the eraser tool, am I? And I just want to, kind of hit the parts where I know some light would be hitting. And I'm going to go really small here. A little bit of reflective light would be coming in this part here. You always want to think about reflective light because it's important. That is light that hits and bounces off other objects, and you just got to get used to knowing where reflective light usually hits based on just doing a lot of drawing. I guess it just takes a lot of practice, and so that part of the finger there. And actually, I want to use maybe even some hard lines. I'm going to use my hard brush here, and well, I'll come back with a darker color and do that because a lot of it's not going to show up with this color. Okay, so the back here, kind of complicated. We have a lot of different curves and shapes you have to pay attention to. One is this groove here, and naturally that groove is always going to have a shading, and I'm going to use a hard line for that. And so you kind of want to pull all that up because this goes all the way up back over into there, and so I'll be shading the shirt next, and I'll have to match it up with the back part. And then you have obviously a little bit of lines here. You have this kind of shading. Maybe I'll use a soft brush for that part. That's going to receive some shading. Alright, actually I decided I'm going to put the whole pinky in shadow like that, and then I'll use darker shadow to make the 3D. And also for this part here, I decided what I'm going to do is make most of it all shaded like this. It's kind of, most of all that's going to be in shade. And I'm going to do it all, this dark color. I'm going to kind of fade it out just a bit lighter as I come over there, and then I'll end up adding some shape with the eraser tool. And don't worry, we'll also be adding a lot more shape to all this when we come back in with the shadow layer, which will be a deeper shadow, this purplish color, and also when we come back in with highlights and lighting layer. Now I'm just going to lightly push in one direction as I come down for the leg here, and I'm going to push a little bit on this side as well. I want just a little bit of light on this side as well, like that, and then I can come with my eraser and kind of erase some of it to add some shape. Notice a lot of certain parts of the body you can get away with just doing the soft lighting, but for here I do want hard lines, and like I said, this really just takes practice and doing a lot of drawings and everything to kind of know when you want to do hard lines and soft lines. And I'm going to pick my soft brush and kind of small. Also, the size of the small brush that you use makes a difference. I want all that kind of, and I want this side to have some shading like so, maybe just one line, and then I'll go once like that. And then I'm going to use my hard brush, again my pen brush, and add some hard lines for the shading right there to kind of define that shape. And I might even take my eraser tool and just kind of soften some of that a bit. And then I'm going to take my big soft brush again and just push the colors all right there again. Take my eraser tool. Going back and forth between this, it seems kind of tedious sometimes, but it really does give a nice look on the end. Okay. Right, we're moving along now. It's getting the groove. I've explained a lot of stuff, and now it's just a matter of doing it. I'm going to kind of zoom in for this. And I know that typically objects will leave hard line shadows, and I always start with my shading color first when I do the shadows, and then I come in and redo them again. I could probably just go right through that because it's not gonna affect that. Then I'll come through it again with the other brush, not other brush, other color when we do our deep shadows layer, and that'll be on top of this one. And then I'll just take the blurring tool actually, and I just want to blur some of this. I don't want too hard of a line there, so I'm going to just blur a little bit of it there, like so. So again, striking that balance between hard and soft is really important. Okay, so all this is going to start really making sense when we add the this is the shading layer. When we add the shadows layer, which we'll do right now for the skin, and then when we add the highlights and lighting layers, you'll see the skin really start popping out, and especially when we start doing the clothes and stuff. And using the shell shading technique, you don't have to work uniformly like you do in a painting. You can work stage by stage. You can do the skin first and then do the clothing and so forth. So let's get on to another layer. So add a new layer. Right click on the layer, layer properties, and I'm going to make this one violet, and I'm going to name it just for you guys, shadows. Okay, and then click OK, and we got our shadows layer now. Now if I wanted to, I can also continue locking these other layers so I don't accidentally touch them. That way if I accidentally click on the layer and start working on it, I do it all the time on accident. I forget what layer I'm on accident, and then I start drawing on it. I'm like, oh man. So locking them is a way to prevent that and that frustration. Okay, so now let's go in and start adding some of these deeper shadows where we know that some of the deeper shadow will be. Remember, I still have my thing on. I haven't got rid of my skin layer. If you want to, let's say I accidentally clicked out of here and it's gone. Now I don't have my selection anywhere. I want to get my selection back. I can go to this layer, but I have to disappear these layers really quick, then go to select, because watch what happens if I don't. I'm going to leave them on. Select color range, and this time I'm going to try to select that pure color range. I can't select it purely, but if I get rid of these two dealios, oh my god, I just said dealios, what the hell? Color range, and then select it. Now you got just that selection there. Then you can bring your layers back up and then hit Control H, and we're ready to rock and roll.